Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Video one. We want to create a store. This is just a sample problem. This is a situation where you would want to get information from the user, whether it be a cashier or a customer, and you want to see if they're going to either buy the pastry or sell the pastry and things of that regard. And so we just want to create a storefront, okay? But in the back of your mind like this, why do I need to learn classes? Why do I need to know the functionality of classes? When you start to aggregate information from various resources, it can get kind of crazy real fast. Meaning, what I mean by that is like the customer's information, their email, their name, or the type of item. Is it expired, or do they want berries in their salad? Something along those lines. It's important that we aggregate information or put information together in a more manageable mechanism. And so we need to separate our information in such a way that we can access it and manage it from one place to another. And so again, this is some of the purposes lie in the fact that we're trying to manage complex systems. Each component, whether it's a class, or whether it's a user or an item, needs to be handled in a very particular way. And this all, at the end of the day, allows us to scale our information so that as we scale our system for when we get more information. And so this is actually pretty big throughout the entire, my face is covered in words, throughout the entire element of this stack, the stack from the front end, from the website all the way to the back end. And you're going to see this idea of classes. Okay, so with that being the case, let's continue. So in this situation, again, the storefront, we're going to have the item, the user, and the database. The database is going to be for next week, but for this week, we're going to highlight the item and the user. Okay, so when I say an item, I'm referring to a salad. I'm gonna say let's go with salads and pastries because I love sweets. And then for a user, we have a customer and a a cashier. So how I look at item and user, I call them super classes. You're gonna hear me say that often. Item and user are super classes, whereas pastries, salad, those are subclasses of the superclass item, and cashier and customer are subclasses of the superclass user. Keep that in the back of your mind. Also hear me say it a lot as well. And database will get back to that next week. So when it comes to, again, our classes, we have item and user. I just put the image in text, so that this is just a text version of what I just said. Okay. And so then moving right along, when it comes to the item and user, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. You can do it, computer, zoom out. Okay, good. So when it comes to the item, the item and user, the item has certain attributes and methods, and the user has certain attributes and methods. In the back of your mind, you're like, what's an attribute? What's a method? Attributes are just constants that need to be stated for each and every item ever created. When it's created, it has these certain characteristics. Whereas a method is, one could argue, it's kind of like a function within the user. It's a function within the user, but we call them methods when we're done with classes. So when it comes to item, we have the name of the item, the price of the item, when is it going to expire, the actual expiration date, and then methods is actually checking, is this particular item expired? Whereas for user, we have the name, the email, and then either the user can log in or the user can log out. With regards to the item, we can do item. We'll do user as well. But in items, you're going to have two separate types of items that have different characteristics, such as the salad and the pastry. Salad, pastry. So the salad can have certain characteristics, such as having certain ingredients, whereas pastries can have certain ingredients in terms of the filling. So you would want to treat them differently based on those subtle nuances. Same in regards to cashier and customer. Cashier is legitimately taking in the money, whereas the customer is paying the money. So you would want to treat them differently. And so let me show you how we even delineate that even further. So again, here's more text of what I just mentioned. Now this image talks about, well, the subclasses further. So again, the superclasses were for salad and pastry item, and then the superclass for customer and cashier were, or was, or is the user. So when it comes to the subclasses here, you can see that salad has certain attributes that are not seen in pastry. Okay. And the same thing in regards to the methods. The same thing can be said about cashier and customer. The thing is, when we're using these subclasses, they are inheriting the attributes still from their superclass, meaning that the attributes for name, price, and expiration date are also seen with regards to salad and pastry, as well as is expired. Okay, so all the same information is being inheritance into the subclasses. Okay, into the subclasses, and same thing can be said for user. Okay, same thing can be said for user, and so that's like the natural benefit of us doing this, so that we can reduce the amount of code that needs to be written. All right. I believe I should show. So then this is just the text, a little bit more description of what's going on in terms of these classes. Okay. And then finally, I have this ASCII. Okay. And this ASCII code allows me just to see, ASCII 2, I think, or ASCII allows me just to see what it looks like. Okay. So we already have, looks like in terms of just the relations. So we've already seen this. This is fine. You have a user class and item class, but then we can break down the user class into two separate user class, the superclass, into two subclasses, customer and cashier. Same thing in regards to item. We have item is the superclass, and you have the subclasses, salad and pastry. Okay. All right. So that was it for video 1, a natural recap. What we're doing is we're just saying we have a storefront, and we get information from the user, the user, and we have a storefront that has different items. And so with regards to the user, or aka users, we're going to have different type of users, cashiers and customers. And so we had to aggregate, or at least manage our information that can come from different resources in a similar format. So we have a subclasses for the user, customer and cashier. And when it comes to items, we have two different types of items that have different functionalities, and we need to store the information regarding those two types of items in different ways. So we have items that have, which is the superclass, and we split it up into two separate subclasses. And again, this is important so that we can store our information in such a way that we can not transform it, but just move it around from place to place in a formidable manner. Okay, so I'm excited for you all to learn this part, and then next video we're going to talk about actually doing some coding of this. All right, thank you.